You've read the articles, set the intention, told yourself, this time I'll say no. And then someone asked you for something, and the yes came out before you could stop it. Not because you wanted to say yes, because the no didn't feel available. It was there, somewhere in your body. But between the thought and the voice, something intercepted it. You don't stop people-pleasing by trying harder. You've been trying hard your entire life. That's the problem. The people-pleasing is the trying. You stop by doing something your system has never learned to do, pausing. Not pausing to think, pausing to check. To ask the one question nobody in your childhood asked you. What do you actually want here? In this video, we're going through 5 actionable shifts that begin to unwind people-pleasing, not by turning you into someone cold or selfish, by teaching the system that was built to prioritize everyone else's needs that your needs are allowed to exist in the equation. These are not abstract. They are things you can practice today, and none of them require you to become a different person. They require you to become the person you already are underneath the performance. Shift 1. Before you say yes, check with yourself first. This is the foundation. Everything else builds on it. Someone asks you for something, and your system launches into automatic compliance. The yes is forming before you've processed the request. The shift. Insert a pause between the ask and the answer. Not a long pause. A breath. A sentence. Let me think about that. I'll get back to you. Give me a minute. The pause is not the no. The pause is the space where the no becomes possible. Without the pause, the system defaults to yes because yes is the only response it was trained to produce under pressure. With the pause, you create a gap. And in the gap, you ask, do I actually want this? Do I have the capacity for this? Is this yes coming from me or from the part of me that's afraid of what happens if I don't comply? The check-in doesn't need to produce a number. Sometimes the answer is yes. But it's a yes that was chosen, not a yes that was reflexive. And the difference between a chosen yes and a reflexive yes is the difference between generosity and survival. Start with the pause. The rest follows. And here's the thing nobody tells you about the pause. It will feel rude. The system will insist that not answering immediately is disrespectful. It's not. Taking a moment before committing your time and energy is the minimum act of self-inclusion. The other person can wait 3 seconds. And those 3 seconds might be the first time in your life you checked with yourself before checking with someone else. Shift 2. Build the no muscle in places where the stakes are low. You cannot start by saying no to the person who triggers you most. That's like walking into a gym for the first time and loading 200 kilograms on the bar. The muscle isn't ready. You'll get hurt and you'll never come back. Instead, start where the refusal carries almost no risk. The waiter asks if you want another drink and you don't. Say no. A colleague asks if you can cover something minor and you're at capacity. Say no. Someone offers you food you don't want. Decline without a reason. These micro no's feel insignificant. They're not. Each one teaches the nervous system something it has never learned. Saying no did not result in abandonment, punishment, or the collapse of the relationship. The world continued. The person didn't leave. The catastrophe the system predicted didn't arrive. And each time the catastrophe doesn't arrive, the system updates. Slightly, quietly, but directionally. Over time, the muscle grows. The no becomes available in medium stakes situations, then higher, then the ones that matter. But it starts with the drink you didn't want and the covering you didn't have to do. Think of it as reps. You don't judge a workout by a single repetition. You judge it by the accumulated effect of showing up and doing the work poorly at first, then slightly better, then with something that starts to feel like competence. The micro no's are reps, and the muscle they're building is not the ability to refuse. It's the ability to tolerate the discomfort that follows refusing. Because the no is the easy part, living with the silence after the no. That's the muscle. Shift 3. Stop filling uncomfortable pauses with compliance. People pleasers are silence fillers. The moment a conversation has an uncomfortable gap, the people pleaser rushes in with an offer, an agreement, an accommodation. Anything to fill the space and restore the other person's comfort. Because silence, for the people pleaser's nervous system, feels like the precursor to disapproval. The shift. Let the silence exist. When someone makes a request and you don't immediately know your answer, don't fill the gap with yes. Let the gap be a gap. The silence is not rude. The silence is the space where your real answer can form. And your real answer, the one that comes from you, not from the fear of the other person's discomfort, needs time to surface. This will feel unbearable at first. The system will scream, "Fill it, say something, they're waiting, they're uncomfortable, fix it." Let the system scream. The silence will not kill anyone, and the person on the other end of it is almost certainly more comfortable with the pause than your nervous system believes. Here's the reality. Most people don't notice the silence. They're thinking about what they said, or what they'll say next, or something entirely unrelated. The silence that feels like a canyon to you feels like a moment to them. The people pleaser's nervous system has massively overestimated how much other people are affected by a 2-second gap. The gap is yours. Use it. Shift 4. The most important thing to understand about guilt and people pleasing, the guilt will come every time. The shift is not eliminating the guilt. It's learning to make the decision while the guilt is present. For people pleasers, guilt is not a moral signal. It's a survival alarm. The system was trained. When you prioritize yourself, guilt fires. Not because you've done something wrong, but because the system interprets self-prioritization as a breach in the compliance contract. The guilt says, "You're being selfish. You're being difficult. They'll leave." The shift. Recognize the guilt as an alarm, not a verdict. The guilt is information from an old system, not evidence that you're doing something wrong. You can feel the guilt and still make the decision. You can feel the guilt and still say no. You can feel the guilt and still rest, still ask for what you need, still choose yourself. The guilt doesn't need to leave before you act. If you wait for the guilt to leave, you'll wait forever. The people pleaser's guilt is not designed to resolve. It's designed to prevent. And the only way to weaken it is to act despite it, repeatedly. Until the system collects enough data to learn, I prioritized myself and nobody left. The guilt was wrong. Shift 5. The shift that holds all the others together. People-pleasing disguises itself as kindness, and the world reinforces the disguise. You're so generous. You're so thoughtful. You always put others first. The praise feels warm, but the praise is landing on the performance, not on you. The redefinition, kindness that costs you your needs, is not kindness. It's a survival strategy wearing a kind face. Real kindness includes yourself in the equation. Real kindness doesn't require you to disappear in order for someone else to be comfortable. Real kindness can say, "I care about you, and I need to take care of myself right now." Both of those things are true at the same time. This redefinition is the hardest shift because it challenges the identity the people-pleasing built. If I'm not the person who always says yes, who am I? If I'm not the one who makes everyone comfortable, what's my role? The answer: your role is not to be useful. Your role is to be a person, a whole person, with needs and limits and preferences that are allowed to exist without apology. And the people who stay when you stop performing, those are the people who actually see you. The ones who leave when the people-pleasing stops were never there for you. They were there for the service. And losing a service is not the same as losing a relationship. This is the scariest part of stopping people-pleasing, finding out which relationships were real and which were transactional. Some people in your life are there because they genuinely care about you. Others are there because you're convenient. The performance kept both categories comfortable. When the performance stops, one category stays and the other reveals itself. And yes, that's painful. But what's more painful is spending your life maintaining relationships that only exist because you never stopped performing. 5 shifts. Pause before answering. Start with micro no's. Let silence exist. Separate guilt from decision. Redefine kind, not all at once, in whatever order feels survivable, at whatever pace your nervous system can absorb. You will not do these perfectly. The yes will still come out sometimes before the pause can catch it. The guilt will still win some rounds. The silence will still feel like an emergency. That's not failure. That's the process. Rewiring a system that has been running since childhood does not happen in a week. It happens in accumulated moments of choosing differently. One pause, one no. One silence held. One decision made despite the guilt. Each one a data point that teaches the system, I am allowed to exist in the equation. And the most surprising thing about this process, the people around you will adjust. Not all of them, but the ones who matter. They'll learn the new you. They'll find a different rhythm. They might even respect you more for having limits. Because the paradox of people-pleasing is that it earns appreciation but not respect. The person who says yes to everything is valued but not taken seriously. The person who sometimes says no is taken seriously. And taken seriously is what your system has been trying to earn through compliance but can never achieve that way. If you want to track these moments, our Inner Lens Healing Tracker, exclusive for members, includes a boundary log and a section for logging micro no's and their outcomes. The pattern becomes visible. How many no's, how much guilt, and whether the catastrophe arrived. Spoiler, it almost never does. Join using the join button below. At Inner Lens, we don't just name the patterns, we walk the path out of them. If this video gave you a starting point, the next one goes deeper into the system that often drives people-pleasing. The toxic family dynamic and the roles assigned inside it. It's right here.